Recordad que entregamos los datos de la doctora Adrian Shannon. Así que vamos al lío.
Gonna ask you to not touch anything. Got some projects in the works down here. I wasn't expecting guests.
Vale, no toco nada. Te ocupaste de mis deudas, caro, hombre.
Good to see someone give the trade authority a bit of their own medicine.
¿Qué estabas haciendo tú aquí con los pañuelos, máquina?
All right, just get those cellular markers tagged. Wait, where are the markers? This can't be right. This sample, it's Londinian. I'll need to get this all in a slate. Adrian really gave you this sample. You're not lying to me? Because if you told me this was a hoax, and it'd be the best damn fake I've ever seen.
La tomé yo en
Can't
persona.
just humor an old man, huh? This sample, it's got all the indicators of the worst terramorph attack in human history. I presume you've heard of Londinian. It was. An entire city wiped off the map. The swarms are so bad, they had to blow the spaceport and seal the place off from the galaxy at large. Not a lot of samples made it off the world from the time of the attack, but the ones that did, well, they look just like this one.
Hostia, luego que tienen nota, ¿no?
I
No
didn't
tiene error.
detect any of the telltale signatures this specimen ever sat on a ship while it was alive, either. I don't think it was transported to Tal Ceti. This specimen, it grew there, faster than any terramorph should. Which means, if we're about to start a new era in human-terramorph relations, where big, sudden that's not gonna end well for humanity.
It would be the end of us as a species.
So, you lugged this bad omen all the way here.
Las órdenes son llevarte hasta Adrian con ese análisis. Debería estar esperando en The Sixth Circle. Porque un solo horromorfo es
Because
tan
until
terrible.
now, the terramorphs that wiped out Londinian had the good sense to stay put. What happened there? It was a tragedy, but at least it was contained. So to find evidence for a similar attack on a different world, well, we don't have enough information to know precisely what this means. But I doubt it's good. So I'd love to know what it is you're planning from here.
Yo no quiero pegarme con más de esos bichos. Yo no quiero reventar bichos de eso. No me
The
gusta.
circle, huh? Could use a drink about now. Here, faster we take the lift to the surface. Not supposed to use it, but given the circumstances, I'm inclined to just ask forgiveness. Let's get going.
Venga, perfecto. Percival, tú entonces vienes conmigo, ¿no? Vale. A ver. Aquí hay algo que merezca la pena coger. Sí, en plan de buen rollo, ¿sabes? No es que te quiera robar, es que quiero ver si hay algo interesante, copona. Pero vamos, de aquí no me he puesto de vacaciones en el Twitch. Streameo más o menos. Ya te digo, todos los fines de semana. Ya no streameo entre semanas. Ya es los fines de semana a tope.
Percival.
Adrian Percival. Mira, tienen los dos los mismos ojos que ellos. Estos son familia, ¿eh?
You're no hassling yourself anymore, Major.
Ya ve que se pasa rápido. No sabes tú bien.
Suffice it to say,
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private.
Sí, venga, vámonos a un sitio más discretito,
Who said
anda.
we could use the back?
A mí se me han hecho súper cortas las vacaciones, Guillo. Pero súper cortas. Pero bueno.
Lou gave me the abridged version of what went down. I can't thank you enough for taking care of all.
makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too...
Prefiero no hacer entregas con menos disparos, pero no ha sido nada con lo que no pudiera.
Well, that's certainly not what I was expecting. So, were you two able...
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terramorph data.
Good place to start.
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives. Doesn't that mean we be... And the Freestar Collective? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. One, they want to see this.
Vale, quieren
and
ver el
two,
análisis. Segundo, ve que se ha
both
sucedido
of
un
us.
Tau Goti.
Well, that's about the best news I've had all day. But before
Vale.
Percival and I, we were military scientists.
Científicos
Ran a
militares.
division of the UC together.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect. Oh, well, but it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terramorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team, under the watchful eye of Monitor. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that, and hopefully how to...
Me voy a tener que pensármelo un poco. No. Venga, bien, vamos al gabinete.
I'm gonna go get this work up into the cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlanta.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
Yo no he probado el No Man's Sky. Subasta anual por las viudas y los huérfanos de la violencia de los espacistas y la flota. 70.000 créditos. Bueno, venga, vale, sí. Tengo entendido, por lo que sé, porque yo no he jugado al No Man's Sky. Me han comentado que no tiene nada que ver porque este es un No Man's Sky bien hecho. Es lo que sé hasta la fecha, porque no he jugado, ya te digo, el No Man's Sky, no lo he tocado. Me llamó la atención, pero nunca lo arranqué. Y dicen que esto es un No Man's Sky bien hecho. Tú sabes, Bethesda. Y con las mecánicas de Skyrim. ¿Cómo coloco los dibujos de los huevos? Ah, mira. Un dibujo. Que la primera vez que lo leí, en vez de astrorrana, leí almorrana. Y digo yo, ¿te imaginas plantar una ciudad tontera, la peta a dibujo y son todas almorranas, tío, al aire? Sería muy hardcore, ¿verdad? Es que estamos en la consulta de un proctólogo. A ver. Vale, eje central. Se supone que por aquí deberíamos de poder coger... ¿Dónde cojones puedo enchufar? Y yo, ¿dónde carajo está aquí? Aquí. Dibujo puesto. Están todos los fumados de la cabeza. Todo el hoyo de la pinza, todos los cogidos de la vida. Vamos a la eje central. Es que ahí esa parte es como que... Es una religión... A ver cómo te explico. Es una religión que va de que hay que confiar y que creer en la fe humana. Hay que tener fe en la humanidad. Y es como... se os va la almendra, pero bueno. Un poco turbio. Vale, otro. Y vamos a poner el último dibujito de los cojones. Aquí. Venga, listo ya. Joder. Una misión de mierda que tenía ahí muerta de asco que no la podía resolver todavía, tío. Y digo, mira, la voy a completar ya y al carajo. Y ahora luego me marco la del Goku y me teleporto a otro planeta. Hay planetas, obviamente, en los que no puedes entrar, ¿vale? Porque hay planetas que son inhabitables y no son, es un clima tan extremo que no puedes pisarlo. Me ver todos los flipados de la cabeza aquí. Pero por norma general, bastante cantidad de planetas los puedes visitar, puedes entrar tranquilamente. Alguien mayor está igual de mí, lo que sea, por agregar a la gente, venga. Un regalito de agradecimiento. 12 créditos. No veas, loco. Me has pagado un paquete de pipa. Aquí estamos, Trevor. A ver, cuéntame, pollo. Vale, muy bien. Cuéntame.
Welcome, welcome. Nice to meet you. Name's Trevor. Mining director. I could spare a minute or two.
Trabajaba en las minas de Argo.
Argos, huh? Yeah, I've heard of them. That's great.
Unless... maybe you could help me out with a job.
Ojo.
Great! I promise. See,
Vale.
you might have noticed that our equipment ain't exactly holding together like it used to. Problem is, we can't get new equipment unless we start exceeding our quotas.
Tela.
I've got a plan for solving our...
A ver.
Okay, glad you... First, I need someone from the outside to bolster our yields so we can prove that we can exceed it. I'll fill you in on the rest of the details after you've hauled up some more. Once, I need to know I can trust you with the easy stuff.
Parece
When you've got
fácil.
enough, drop it off in the bin over there for process.
In order to avoid injuries, please report any spills or unsafe conditions
Vale, acumular hierro.
on the up.
Vale, dejamos esto y hablamos con el nota.
Ok.
Lo he trasladado. Venga, hecho, primo.
Now, the next part is a little trickier.
Despidió a su ayudante a Zoom.
Peter's the only
Ok.
one who can approve the order for new equipment. I
Vale.
think I've got a surefire way for you to get that job.
Vale, tengo que hacerme el ayudante
Hold on,
del
it's not
nota.
that easy. You'll need to apply for it like anyone else.
Vale.
Head to the Deimos Star Yard's office up in orbit. Come back and see me when you've done that, and we'll talk about how to secure the position.
You're jumping through a lot of hoops to get those miners the equipment that they need.
Hombre, claro, a los colegas lo que haga falta aquello. Y ahora se supone que opta al puesto de ayudante del director. Y el ayudante del director está en Narnia, ¿verdad? Acepto una misión del panel de misiones. Mira, primo, escúchame, relájate. Opta al puesto de... Ah, venga. Que... Y... ¿Hola? ¿Y esto dónde está, máquina? En Deimos. Espérate, esto no será una nave puerca en mitad del espacio muerta de asco, ¿no? Como me parece que va a ser. Ya ves, y tanto. Embarcar.
That was fun. Now what?
¿Ahora qué? Pues ahora vamos a ir a hablar...
It is pleasant to see you.
Te como los huevos, Vasco.
When humanity finally left the cradle of Earth behind, the United Colonies was born. Intrepid explorers and valiant colonists used Deimos starships to venture.
Vale. Oportunidad de entrega de Deimos. Dique seco. Hablar con esta señora. Este recurso. Y puesto solicitar empleo de administración. ¿Cuántos años de experiencia tiene como ejecutivo administrativo o otro cargo asistente corporativo? Entre 1 y 4. ¿Cuál es su formación educativa más alta que han completado? Un máster con toda mi polla. Ahora haremos una serie de preguntas que nos permitirán evaluar su actitud para este cargo. Responda con total sinceridad. El ejecutivo le pide que le lleve un whisky solo. ¿Qué significa eso? Pregunta trampa. A los ejecutivos no se les permite beber mientras trabajan. Un VIP llega al despacho para reunirse con el ejecutivo. ¿Quién, por lo que sea, llega tarde? ¿Qué debería hacer? Entretendría al cliente contándole chistes hasta que llegase el ejecutivo. Aplazaría la reunión del cliente con el ejecutivo para otro momento. Le ofrecería bebida, le disculparía de la seguridad de que el ejecutivo está a punto de llegar. Jamás hablaría con el cliente sin la aprobación del ejecutivo. Una avería impide que la nave del ejecutivo arranque y tiene programada en breve una reunión importante en otro mundo. ¿Cómo actuaría a usted? Me pondría en contacto con el cliente para cancelar la reunión y programarla para otro día. Mientras decide qué hacer con el mensaje del ejecutivo, recibe otro en el que alguien afirma tener información comprometedora sobre él. ¿Qué debería hacer? Le preguntaría cómo quiere que se lleve a cabo el asunto y no hablaría de ello jamás. Sería lo óptimo. Un miembro de la junta directiva se pone en contacto con usted y le cita a su despacho en plena noche. Se da cuenta de que ha bebido. ¿Qué haría usted? Acudiría a su despacho para cuidar de él hasta que volviera en un estado de sobriedad. Me pondría en contacto con seguridad y dejaría que ellos se encargasen. Venga. Ten en cuenta que las respuestas son definitivas y son revisadas. Bien, envía solicitud. Venga. Habla con Trevor, perfecto. Listo, máquina. Sí, aquí hay un carbo también.
What do we have here? Deimos prides itself on being the UC's first.
Primera y última línea de defensa. Pues me alegro que tenga tiempo para los civiles.
Heck, an independent, maybe even braver. So, let's see about that feeling.
Ah, mira.
Ah, it's nice to see someone not in uniform. They can be so touchy, you know. Always eager to point out the slightest problem. Oh, please tell me you aren't secretly some... I assume you're here for a ship. Either that or Mr. Henderson handles sales. But if you... Oh, yeah? Well, I take that as a compliment. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It can be pretty hard working with these no-nonsense... Oops. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say things like that. At least not so loudly. Man, I could really use a... Well, we don't have much of it at all.
Hay que mantener la apariencia.
Really uses Jake's Stout, from Jake's Bar in New Atlantis, of course. Or the Well, to be more specific. I used to love that place when I lived there. Say, you're the trap.
Te traigo una canilla.
Thank you so...
Ah, perfecto.
Yeah. Bye.
A ver qué más quería que te diera, prima. O sea... Venga. Mira, como caído del cielo. Hola, Trevor.
Trust me.
Ya me he postulado.
Now we need to ensure to do that. You'll need to get access to the
Conseguir acceso a determinados recursos humanos arriba en el nivel principal y borrar el resto.
That's the spirit.
Yo me encargo, venga.
Believe me. By the way, the HR password is password spelled backwards, which Tia thinks is pretty clever. She gets talkative during happy hour and loud.
Drozap.
Surprised everyone doesn't know her password. Anyway, should be.
Nice. Y esto es, tenemos que ir ahí arriba. Vale, mira, le queda todavía una hora, tío. Ah, ¿qué puedo hacer? Vale, este chaval... Vale, de aquí es donde he venido antes. Ok, ya me voy... Ya me estoy haciendo el mapa mental, por lo menos, de cómo va esta ciudad. Voy a hacer una cosa, ¿vale? Quiero hacer una prueba. Te voy a vender una cosa. Si yo te cojo y te vendo la pipa esta y ahora la intento comprar, y yo me la equipo, ya es legal. Hostia, chaval, qué vacío acabo de encontrar, máquina. Hostia, qué vacío legal. Vale, las cosas que robe las puedo vender. Se las puedo vender y comprar, aunque me cuesten un poco. Vale. ¿Me tengo que esperar hasta por la puta noche? Pues nada, vamos a ver qué podemos hacer. Ya venimos otro día aquí ya por esto. Arcarao, ya hasta los huevos. Sabor de hogar. Vamos a ir aquí. Eso es. Nos venimos a Alpha Centauri. Y nos venimos a... El pozo. Ponme una copa. Y le tengo que pillar una cerveza negra de Jake's. Una. Listo.
Well, bye.
Y ahora ya vamos a Marte. Aunque primero quiero ir al distrito del Tan para hablar con esta mujer.
Captain, over here.
Ya te veo ya.
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us, but listen, I know I should have been more so, in the interest of full disclosure, my relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might. I
Soy un
am a
clon
of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new secure the leadership of the UC military for generations.
¿Eres un clon de un hombre?
A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our... He and I are different on more than a few levels.
Vale. ¿Hay más
I'm the
gente?
last.
Eres la
A few of my
última, vale.
siblings, they passed when we were young. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the colony. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the... I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was ex-Freestar Collective, and the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on... So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us.
Vale, está bien. Tú no eres tu viejo. Y yo pensando que mi familia era un desastre. Desestructurada. Sí, tu padre fue el tío este que condenaron a muerte.
I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much... You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle. Or if you've got any last minute... No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep. That's actually a souvenir. The Red Devils unit I was a part of. They were founded by recruits who'd worked. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything.
Por vivir en Marte.
It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist. The Devils were always talked about in such... And the eyes were my parting gift.
Bueno, no tengo más preguntas, Guilla, no tengo más preguntas.
All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories.
Vale.
Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
Ahora estamos intentando averiguar a qué nos enfrentamos. No podemos tomar una decisión informada sin datos. Necesitamos los datos para dar con el modo de tener un posible apocalipsis horromorfo. Solo vengo a hablar de lo que pasó. Adrián es la que hace los grandes planes. Vale.
That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not... They've been happening for generations. to demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst,
no way.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the bot.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt, the preservation of life stands paramount among the... Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt can... I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem...
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal, but if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far,
que si hay una posibilidad de que se repita en otro sitio, habría que acceder.
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However,
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
Very well. I consent.
you and I are in agreement, Chieftain. So if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
What? What?
Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport.
Horromorfos.
Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
No me quiero enfrentar a esos bichos de los cojones, tío. No quiero, no quiero.
The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Claro, como son unos bichos que miden 3 metros, muy fácil esconderlo. Como no pasa nada, son cucarachas. Me estás contando.
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
Pero venga, dejarme ahí para allá, ya, cojones. Venga, vámonos. ¿Cómo le tiramos?
The EM rifle, grab it!
What?
Now!
Stop! We're trying to help you!
Hazte con el arma electromagnética.
That's it. Now hit him with every...
Equípalo. ¿Pero por qué? Rayo electromagnético. Para que no maten en combate, vale. Ah, vale, a calambrazo, vale.
And that, my friend, is how we do things on Jameson.
Thank you. The way those people were acting. I've seen this before.
Hostia, claro, es que si el horromorfo este de los huevos.
I don't know. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of... But some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just...
Pheromonic projection. Some terramorphs, it affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control. Turn against everyone around. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful.
Venga, vamos a darnos bulla.
That's unlocked. Please.
God, no time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some firepower. Let's move.
Has been issued for the spaceport district. All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
You might back up. Don't just stand there. Good.
Venga, que te vaya a dar cara, bicho de los huevos.
Wait, officer? Are you and this woman experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, but we're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need.
No te rayes, tú no te rayes, bicho.
Them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast.
Venga, pues deja de hablarme, que voy a pegarme de galletas ya. Venga, vamos. Con la unidad. ¿Cuál es la unidad, tú? Ah, aquí está.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a fight.
We're not UC security. Your call. We're on the line.
Yo como acerqué a mi nave y me reventéis la nave, se va a liar, horromorfo de los cojones, ¿eh? Vale, tengo uno allí que no lo veo y el otro aquí que sí lo estoy viendo. Vaya bicharraco de arma, tú. Va por culo ya, un solo huevo. Oye, pues al final no son tan complicados, ¿eh? Como yo pensaba. Todo esto para mí, todo esto para Mua. Hop. Si todavía no me veis, le estoy metiendo todo por 10, por 8, por 2, por 4. ¡Hostia!
It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Venga, podemos continuar ya para adelante, por favor. Vamos a llevar las cositas para allá. Vamos a decir, oye, mira, que no hemos cargado los lagartos estos grandes que había aquí de 27 toneladas cada uno.
Certainly doesn't feel like it. I don't want to think what would have happened if you two had.
Pues abre a la puta.
Captain, we should report back to the president. Let her know the terror. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Vale, ¿y podría hacer vuelo automático? Vale. Vale, no está disponible, no puedo hacer viaje rápido. Ok. Venga, ¿nos vaya a dar ahora la información o no nos vaya a dar la información ahora?
Whole building's on lockdown.
That's a relief, Captain. Hadrian, it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city. Your concerns about the terramorphs?
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. Now, today's events have only clarified. You will have our full support in collecting the terramorph data from the archives, as well, but to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and the cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative.
Solo soy
We see
miembro
your
de la
atypical
vanguardia.
background as a strength, not a hindrance. The people you'll be dealing with, they're rather... In
Algo
exchange,
atípica, algo especialita,
we're
¿no?
willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So... I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in with... Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks.
The next time terramorphs rear their ugly heads, the UC is going to be ready.
I'm gonna go check
Perfecto. Comandante, ya es comandante, chaval. Yes, commander.
That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure, and that means first getting you into the archive.
Sí, sé lo que son los archivos.
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also...
Claro, hay tres.
Access to the
Potencia.
archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency and requires a one-time use. UC.
Colectivo
Freestar
Freestyle y la Casa
Now, the
Varun.
UC is
Sí.
already on board, so that means we'll need to convince two people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
Hijo de puta. Cualquier día que estarían peleándose por ayudar después de la... Cualquiera diría que estarían peleándose por ayudar después del ataque al
I couldn't agree
espacio
more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't or can't. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and
Vale,
though
vale,
that
vale.
doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun?
Con el Harry Potter, el Radcliffe.
Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Otra herramienta.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters. which we suspect you can
En la
use
vivienda
to-
de la embajadora.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land your...
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without...
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information.
Name's Cameron Long.
Cameron Long.
He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the... He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information, and someone who very likely hates her guts.
Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over.
Vale.
All right. Here, your diplom...
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed.
Ole. 9.600 créditos. ¿Así da gusto? ¿Así da gusto? Vale, pues... Háblame sobre el embajador de la Casa Barón.
When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly
Balmor
after,
se quedó aquí.
he's since
Ha
lent
apoyado
his
una poca solicitud de
support to a
acceso, así que
small
puede ser que
number
lo vuelva a hacer.
of- claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to...
¿Qué tiene de malo la Casa Barón?
These days, they're primary House Varun zealots.
Claro, es que son unos fanáticos, ¿verdad, tío? Es como que tienen de Dios una gran serpiente y toda la historia de...
But that hasn't always. After they ended
La
the
ciudad cruzada de
Serpent's Crusade
serpientes,
about
hace unos
70
60 años, la Casa
House
Barón
Varun
intentó
did
normalizar sus
take a
relaciones con el
real
resto de la
run.
galaxia.
It's
Menos
why
mal,
they had an
detalle.
embassy here in the first place. Why they were included in the armistice negotiation, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his...
Ah, bien. Es como... Oye, mira, tú te vas a quedar pringado, ¿sabes?
It does.
Vale, es el problema.
We're not 100%
No estamos
sure
seguros del todo de que
Balmor's-
Balmor siga viva.
His public appearances
Bien.
were always rare, but it's been scans of the facility show life signs.
Your task is to find him and kindly but
Con
firmly
amabilidad
remind him
y
of his
firmeza
duties under the
recordarle el
armistice.
deber con el armisticio. Vale. ¿Qué hago si está
Then
muerto?
you search the embassy for his
Ya hay
biometric
biométrica y
key,
conseguir su
collect your
código.
code piece, and we'll go about. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Esperemos. ¿Nadie entra en la
The
embajada?
embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory. We've snuck in the
Hemos
occasional
colado un
spy,
espía.
of course, but the ambassador has proved. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city.
Miedo me da ese pavo. ¿Qué tipo de señal había encontrado? Esa es eso es lo guapo. La de flora nativa.
With them. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish.
En fin, vamos a buscarlo. Si está muerto, pues nada. El morido me vale también.
But our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access.
Entrada lateral. Todo es posible.
This device should get you all the way down. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the...
Now, if you have additional questions, or I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe.
Sí, voy a arrancar con ella.
Be smart out there, Captain.
Voy a arrancar con la embajadora. La embajadora Potter. Vale, esta es la embajada. Ok.
Maybe we should stop for a moment. I can't believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the collective.
Como si hubiera sido ayer, ¿te has dado cuenta? Eso se llama hacerse mayor.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or...
Vale, esto entiendo yo que es la...
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. But you lead, and I'll follow.
Seguridad de la embajada. Y si me quiero leer el libro, ¿qué pasa, tío? No me lo puedo leer esperando aquí a la embajada, a la embajadora. Es como si me estuviera mangando. ¿O cómo va la historia?
All that security and they still
Hola,
can't
buenas
protect
tardes.
their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Sí.
Guests can make them.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment?
Sí, con el nombre de las Colonias Unidas. Necesitamos la ayuda del colectivo Freestar. Soy Guaditanor, de la vanguardia de las CEU. Tenemos que hablar con la embajadora. Ah, tenemos que hablar
You're the one
embajadora, vale.
McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said
Testigo presenciano, me los he pillado yo, ¿vale?
Ah. Saved many. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connect, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all.
Estaría de puta madre.
I presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right.
Lo del suplicar es maravilloso. Porfa, porfa, porfa.
Let me be frank, Captain.
Esa información está ahí porque es peligrosa. Yo no soy el responsable. Solo te pido que escuches lo que te quiero decir. Ponía que había que apretar un poco las tuercas.
Are you suggesting we can't defend ourselves? The results of the colony war. I suppose
vale,
you're
tú
right.
fuiste soldado,
Our
eso.
job and our responsibility.
Vale.
It's possible I might be letting my history cloud my
Sito crítico, máquina.
Possibly. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna... Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terramorphs. The monitors will make sure of it.
Está bien. Es lo que busco.
Go in once. You get everything you need on your trip, and all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy, Freestar scientists will watch your people like. So, do we have an agreement?
Escúchame, comarcones. En el último planeta, en el que había pollo, me los cargué a todos. No me toco los huevos. Pero venga, ahí.
Excellent. Follow me.
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
Pero me has dicho que te siga. Tiraré, ¿no? Uy, Dios mío. Sí, claro, me podía haber colado por aquí y ya está.
And there. It's not supposed to be a long process. It is for emergencies, after all.
Vale. Muchas gracias ahí, gracias, de verdad. Y me deja aquí, ¿sabes? Súper tranquila la nota. Por esto me lo llevo. ¿Cómo que basura? Eso no es basura. Digo la tía, basura. Me falta ahora convencer a los Barum. Vale. Esta es la puerta trasera de la embajada, ¿no? Vale. Desbloquear. Vale, se supone que puede ser que el nota que vive aquí esté morido.
What I expected at all. It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy.
No puedo, por ejemplo, a ver, yo puedo petar el cristal. Era broma, ¿vale? Venga. No tengo ganzúas. Qué bien. Claro, cuidado con la defensa. Vale. Mira, la embajada esta da un poco de mal rollo, ¿sabes?
I've never seen a tree like this before in my entire life. It'd actually be more fascinating if its branches weren't blocking our way.
Mira, me voy a cagar en tu puta madre 20 par de veces. Me cago en la... Hostia, qué paranoia. Vaya puta paranoia de... Mira, yo voy a sacar la escopeta.
Well, I suppose they're not going to need it anymore.
Claro, oye, ¿tú por qué estás tan tranquila, Sara? Por Dios. Sara Connor. What the?
Switching to a new target.
¿Quién ha sido el qué? Y yo, ¿de verdad, Will Smith ha estado aquí poniendo maniquíes por los sitios o qué? En plan de soy leyenda. Sigue por ahí, hay robotitos, ¿no? Vale, hay un robot por aquí, Gadi. No te rayes que te va a aparecer en la puta cara. No te asustes, porque no te asustes. Porque es tontería asustarse porque va a aparecerte. Te va a aparecer en la cara, ¿verdad? Tú no hagas ruido y píllalo por detrás y ya está. No pasa nada. Aquí está, ¿verdad? Hijo puta metido, ¿no? Después me tengo que tirar. Entra ahí dentro, ¿no? Que tengo que ir polla para arriba, ¿no? Un alicate para retorcerle los huevos que inventó este nivel, de verdad. Tío, de verdad, el que se le ocurrió ponerlo.
Not gonna last much longer. Find anything useful?
Lo siento, Sara, si te pega una pequeña perdidona en el lomo, pero... ¿Pero quién cojones me está virando? ¿Quién coño me está viendo? ¿Cómo que cuidado? ¿Cuidado de qué? ¿Quién me ve? Mierda, esta su puta madre. Me estaba meando y se me ha cortado el chorro de golpes. O sea, en plan de... mi cuerpo ha dicho, mira, ¿sabes cuándo vas a mear? Ahora no. Último accionado, dirígete al sótano. Cuidado de demonio. Encima. Encima. Encima, ¿no? Encima. O sea, no... No me puedes decir yo pásatelo bien y yo te puedo tirar una pistola al fondo. En el sótano está la última prueba, que es que te vamos a dar munición gratis a punta pala para que dejarte. No, no, no. Demonio. Demonio, demonio. Vamos, lo menos que me has podido decir. Mira, si no llegase, porque depende de mí la galaxia, te dan por culo, a ver. Aquí te quedas. Vale, por lo menos ya no escucho esa puta voz de los cojones que me estaba rayando tela. Me estaba poniendo un poco nervioso. Venga, vamos para abajo. ¿Qué pasa ahí contigo? Guardia sótano. Explora el sótano. Ah, bueno, pero ya que no me ha quedado, ¿no? Que son como putas ratas, no me jodas, loco. Vale, cuando pueda la acierto una, ¿vale? ¿Ya está?
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the great serpent's designs for us.
Escúchame, tú no serás el Capitán Spock, ¿no?
You have my thanks. And my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss.
Mira, como se te ocurre decirme que esto ha sido para una pruebecita de los cojones, para decirme a ver si era válido o no era válido para venir aquí a hablar contigo, te voy a petar la cabeza de un tiro, ¿eh? Te lo juro. Aunque luego tengo que cargar la partida otra vez. Me da igual.
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a... I suspect the venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. Tell me, though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack, then the embassy. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly?
Que mejor que este cuchitril.
Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guided. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, but I must know of the rest. Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather... Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. And the broadcast spoke of terrormorphs at the space. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthusiasm.
Y algo más. Vas cogiendo, lo vas cogiendo, Gollum, lo vas cogiendo. Por supuesto, solamente eso.
The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is luck. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hope, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who... The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me that...
As the chair of Constellation, I take personal responsibility in vouching for this man's integrity.
Esa es mi Sara ahí con dos cojones.
I shall not fear. Please, follow me.
Tiene un poco de cara de Gollum, eso sí, ¿eh? Soy un hombre súper íntegro. De mí no tienes que preocuparte porque mi palabra vale muchísimo. Porque soy muy íntegro. Espérate.
There's a huge difference between being to the moon.
Que te calles.
Shall we? Bye.
Que se puede utilizar, tío, como un material. Ah, esto no es robar, ¿no? Vale. Gracias. Gracias, polla, te como los huevos. Era una mejilla. Porque el tío este no venderá, ¿no? El del Galvan, ¿no? No habrá un vendedor por aquí con toda la suerte del mundo, ¿no?
Can you imagine how many credits flow through this place? Figuratively, of course.
I do hope you're taking advantage. As always, if there is any way I can assist you, I'd be happy to.
O te estoy preguntando y estás pasando a mi cara. ¿Quién es exactamente? Alguien manda una nave que le ofrece... Que ve lo que ofrece Nueva Atlántida.
Really? Oh, this is... I have a business proposition for you. You are just the well, confession time. I might just... See, the world of credit analysis, you know, dealing with debt. What I need is a ringer. Someone that can... What I need is... you. Yes! So, we got a Galaxy-class con man. Turns out, surprise, it was a scam. Now, he's holed up in a literal shop. The job is... We don't want him dead. We don't want him hurt. Just close his account like an honest citizen.
¿Cómo consigo que pague?
Need to lean on him. And don't listen to any sob stories he tells you. Any job these are scofflaws. Scum.
¿Qué pasa si muere?
If he dies, then his assets go to... So if he forces you into an it's you or him situation... But I cannot stress this enough. This is not the ideal outcome. We wanted him lit.
Peligroso?
Well, I mean, yes. We're not the only... And you don't dome up on a dust ball unless you're serious about dodging it. I'll send over all the details.
Decided to take a break from exploring to collect some debts?
I hate to end on this note, but, you know, not everyone's a straight. If you cut a deal with Dieter, but don't expect any more jobs from me.
No era lo que esperaba, pero en fin. Cajero. Ah, que puedo robar los cajeros. Tócate los huevos. Pero no puedo sacar dinero, ¿no? Vale. Vale, una manada, vale. Una manada, vale.
You're back sooner. Oh, wait. Did
Ajá. Sí, tengo todo.
So the old man was still lurking around in there. Fine work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the code. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance, absolute best behavior down there.
Vale, sí señora. Me porto bien. A ver si me dan los putos archivos ya.
After the UC Navy's defeat at the Battle of Cheyenne by the Freestar Collective's ragtag fleet, both sides...
Si tú supieras lo que voy a hacer ahora, prima. Hola, buenas tardes. No, pero aquí, ¿qué pasa? ¿Yo aquí no hay nadie o qué? Esto no va como la de a la gente, ¿no? Y yo está todo empantanado, ¿qué pasa? ¿Que aquí no hay nadie o qué? Ah, venga. Vale, aquí.
Welcome, Captain, to the archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles. Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other units. Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance. You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
Y yo, que en verdad llevan de esto picado como... Pero como los antiguos ordenadores, ¿sabes? No ve que cutre. Espérate, yo voy a cerrar la puerta, en verdad. Ahí está. Bien cerradita para que luego no digan ellos. Es que ha entrado donde sale de la polla. No, no. He entrado donde me habéis dejado.
There you are. Captain, Deputy told me what went down. Impressive work.
Captain, if you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers. So whenever you're ready. Percival and I have done our damage. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment.
Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
O sea, que ahora ya soy ciudadano de las Colonias Unidas por entregar los archivos, pero yo no sé qué carajo había en los archivos. Y tú podías ir un poquito más rápido, hija mía. Date vida, date vida. Date vida. Vale, ¿para qué quiere que venga yo aquí? ¿Qué me quiere hacer, hija mía? A ver, cuéntame. Salimos para afuera, ¿no? Yo salí del tirón, yo no sé si tenía que salir o no tenía que salir. Yo salí para afuera. Ah, que el juramento bajo las estrellas. Vale, 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 qué bonito todo, tío. Qué bonito. Tía, tú, esto como me... Cuchada, aquí me tiro yo, ahora para abajo.
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen?
Sí. Espérate, me voy a poner enfrente. Me voy a poner enfrente para que sea más bonito.
All right, Captain.
Que lo podíamos haber hecho de día, también te digo, pero bueno. Venga, vamos a ello.
Good. This isn't the only item. Please raise your
Versión
hand.
corta. Venga, levanto la mano.
Through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place.
Venga, del
for
carajo.
service bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry?
Hombre, sí. Otra cosa es que mangue.
Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here,
perfect.
Your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive...
Vale.
Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person...
Vale, una persona que
and they
sabe de los
stated they'll only
horromorfos.
share it with you. They asked for you. So I
¿Solo
need your
conmigo?
agreement that everything you're about to see is kept...
Sin problema, me lo llevo a la tumba. Pidió que me encargara yo expresamente. ¿De quién estamos hablando?
I'm sorry. I can't...
Venga, vale.
Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
¿Quién coño ha pedido que haga yo el qué? Los diablos que conoce, diablo. La de estas 7, ¿no? Subsección 7. ¿Quién carajo, ¿Eh? Te queda aquí, Sari. No te preocupes. A ver, ¿quién carajo es el que me está esperando aquí? ¿Y ese nota quién es? ¿El requemado?
President Abeyo was kind enough to give me a few files to peruse. Quite the series of accomplishments you've made. But now you face a foe unlike any other. An invisible enemy lurking in the which is why I hoped we could speak. Do you know who I am?
Iba a decir el comandante Anderson de MAF, pero está un poco yayo para hacer. Pero no.
I'm Francois Fanon, but most know me as Victus.
Pero tú no estabas muerto.
I was an admiral during the Colony War. One of its great villains, if you believe the slates.
Eso digo yo.
But the previous regime deemed me a sacrifice on the altar of peace. Even my death served the colonies.
¡Dios! ¡Las CEU han estado mintiendo todo este tiempo! No, en plan de... Esa no, el apellido de Adrian. Sí, tú. Vale, ¿qué fue lo que hiciste? A ver. Sí, para que te mataran. Destrucción de naves civiles durante la batalla de Cheyenne. Una batalla en la que las naves civiles atacaron mi flota, ¿vale? Y ordenó un bombardeo en el espacio puerto de Londinum para el brote de horromorfos no se extendiera. Ya veo. Entonces la colonia unida.
The trial was authentic. I faced tribunal with dignity. But the cabinet at the time, long gone now, wished to keep me up. So I elected to trade my freedom for my continued existence. But such...
Madre mía.
Captain, please. There are no clean hands in galactic politics. We all do what we must to keep ourselves safe. Which, right now, means finding a way to protect you. An effort you and my progeny, Hadrian, have already made impressive. Though I am curious. Has she shared with you the nature of our...
Sí, un clon. Algo... Nunca pude erradicar eso de ella.
The Major was born to become a great leader. Carry on the legacy I established. But the universe cut all that short. Now, though, it's... And I think I have a part to play in helping you accomplish what you've set out to do. It was an attempt by the United Colonies to solidify its own legacy. They were raised by adoptive families made up of scholars and tacticians.
Ah, vale, era como los Levenborg de los alemanes, vamos, básicamente. Sí, lleva razón, meca. Cuéntame.
After some long years earning the trust of this current regime, the UC has been permitting me to work alongside one of their, helping them gather intelligence on, locate, and organize scenarios to lure in, with quite a few successes, I might add. But in the process, the names and locations of Hadrian and Percival's old research team.
Claro.
I'll tell you where they are. There is a former colleague of mine, a man
Reiner Orlas.
like myself and Hadrian. He was involved in some of the United Colony's more
Armamento de mechas.
lines of research.
Me vas a meter en un cipote, máquina. Me vas a meter en un follón.
He could make a deal more. When the colony war ended, he fled, refusing to face tribunal, and has continued to peddle his skills to the highest bidder to this day. But I finally found him. I want you to track him down and deal with him, however you're able. I'm not expecting he'll come quietly. Bring me evidence that the job's done.
¿Cómo sé yo que no me estás pidiendo que mate a un inocente?
I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that some... Though I would ask you, do not make...
¿Y si la arresto?
Try, but the man's been out there 20 years. Easier for all if you simply blow up his ship. If that's what you require to sleep at night. According to my information, he's been hiding around the world of Etheria. There is a star station in the vicinity. The Den.
Vale. Habla con la capitana Márquez y con la diputada. Perfecto, pues...
Captain, did your meeting go well?
Joder, tú sí.
I hope it's clear now why we needed you to agree to all this.
Lo pillo. Un criminal de guerra ejecutado. Es que es maravilloso. No hable harto, cabrón.
The prisoner is a complex one. A holdover from a different era. But it's a situation we've been managing as discreetly and humanely as we can for some time now. And the most critical part of that management is making sure no one else learns of it. Do I make myself clear?
¿Y Adrián por qué no? Ahí está.
The Major doesn't have clearance for this sort of information. And she certainly doesn't need a distraction, which is why I need you.
Vale, me lo guardo por ahí, no te preocupes.
And that's not a good look for any of us.
Orlas.
Dr. Reginald Orlays? Of course, killing Orlays is completely out of the question. That'd be a huge win for the youth.
La ubicación del antiguo equipo de investigación de Hadrian.
Really? He found the member. We'd already initiated a search for them, but it'd save a lot of time and... Captain, if that's the deal, you have my endorsement. Just... Now, was there anything else you wanted to discuss regarding your meeting?
¿Qué posibilidad hay que sea una
Trusting the
trampa?
man downstairs would be a mistake. But I don't think you need to be too concerned. This is far from the first name he's handed over, and all previous missions went off largely without a hitch. So while I'd certainly warrant caution, I think you can proceed.
Vale, ¿y lo de la guarida?
The Den? It's a star station. Orbiting Wolf, the second star station actually to bear that type. The first one was blown to smithereens by House Varun. The place has always acted as a remote strategic, but because of its distance from the rest, I can think of worse places in the galaxy for...
Error de comunicación tampoco, Mantis tampoco. Quillo, ¿dónde está? El astillero de Nova Galactic. ¿Estará aquí? Aquí está. A ver, ¿dónde coño está Sora? Diré una Sora. Hablemos con Yumi. No sé qué nos haces qué hace que no está dentro de un carry. Pero bueno, va a
Thanks to you, the spaceport is up and running again.
We've received a tip that someone has been bringing in Great. Ask them if they... Once you've gotten a lead, when you're done...
Oído. ¿Dónde están los técnicos?
There should be a few working on the landing. Right now, we don't have any good... Remember that job you did for Agent Plato? I asked him to pull the names and cargo of Ed. He said he'll have a slate ready for you to... Well, technology-wise, criminals... Smugglers often have a fancy but luckily, we can still use...
Vale,
The whole
repercusión.
department is in the process of recovering, myself included. Things can be replaced and wounds can be healed, but building back that trust... Luckily, we built a good culture here, and we hired some new recruits who,
Vale, pues venga, vamos a... Nota mental, tengo que quitarme lo que tengo de contrabando en el pozo. Estoy investigando un contrabandista. ¿Has visto algo sospechoso? No.
Nope. I just keep my head. Speaking of which...
Empezaba a pensar que me ignoraba. ¿Cómo se llama la nave? Que tenía sospechoso, manejaba la carga, demasiado cuidadosos, patata. Vale, pues vamos ahí a la nave.
Our next stop is the moon, the one orbiting Earth.
Mira, vamos a ir a la luna nada más. Vamos a ir a la luna nada más para ver si te callas una puñetera vez, porque me tienes hasta los cojones, máquina. Y esto es dentro del... Esto es más rápido, cojones. Vamos a ir allí nada más que por culito que estás dando, ya. A ver si te callas ya. Con razón todo el rato lo del to the moon, to the moon, to the moon. Me dijeron que tienes una tábula para mí. Sí. Ya la tábula identifica la nave del contrabandista. Estación estelar clasificada. Vale.
Yep. Every ship on that list has a route that goes through. And if they're smuggling stuff there,
vale.
We'll be seeing.
Entonces tú me has dado aquí objetos nuevos. Anansi, transporte de carga, patatas de puré de hidroponic, productos varios, armas, suministro para naves. Sí, la primera. Malawi Indiaye. Y ahora informamos al sargento Yumi. Vale, tengo información de la nave. Anansi.
Captain Enjoy's ship.
Hey.
You had reports of their crew being less than professional. Still.
Seguro.
Then the next step is searching their cargo for any smuggled contraband. And, as luck would have it, I'll make the call to have... Your job is to board the ship. And if any of the crew puts up a fight, I trust you know what...
Claro, yo ahora puedo decidir o matarlos o utilizar este arma.
Head to my crew position.
Vale, aquí está todo en orden, parece. Yo estoy registrando a tope la nave, ¿eh?
Hey, that isn't yours.
Bueno, ¿y qué más da? Esta gente son unos cabrones. No le estoy robando aquí a los seguidores de Cristo, ¿sabes? Le estoy robando, yo qué sé, tío, a unos notas que están trapicheando, que yo también lo he hecho. Bueno. Perdonad usted. Hola, buenas tardes. Sí, ya te digo que estoy buscando algo. Mira, ¿ves? Coger todo. Venga.
Well, it looks like you got me, officer. But maybe you'd be willing to give a first-time offender. I don't suppose you're interested.
Yo no negocio con criminales.
Fine. You.
Let's see if they've got anything worth taking.
Yo te juro que yo le iba a disparar, ¿eh? Pero es que no me has dado tiempo, cabrona. ¿Cuánto hay metido, tú? Vaya bicharraco de nave, también te digo, ¿eh? ¿Qué has cogido, cariño mío? ¿Tienes algo para mí, Sara? Una membrana. Gracias. Gracias, de verdad, gracias. Muchas gracias por la membrana. Muchas gracias. Estoy eternamente agradecido. A ver. Claro, es que fíjate lo que llevo de berilio. Solo en berilio llevo la vida. Plutonio también llevo 27.000 millones de kilos. Es que, vamos, voy hasta la boca.
Time to go?
Antes me daba un poco más de pánico. Ahora ya es como, me quita un poco de vida. Tampoco es... Mujer contrabando. Ya ve que lo he encontrado. Toma, ahí lo llevo.
Initially, I felt bad for helping someone.
Ha valido la pena.
In any case, I'll have a team move the ship off the land. Oh, and before I forget.
Ahí está, tú dame dinerito. Tú dame dinerito. 317. Es que tengo que soltar una cantidad de mierda. Pues nada, chavales. Espero que os haya gustado el vídeo. Dale like, suscribiros y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo. Abajo del todo tenéis en la descripción mi canal de Twitch para que os vengáis a verlo conmigo. Así que nada, hasta luego.